Evening, I'm Dana King.
I'm Ken Bastida. A massive earthquake in Japan, a magnitude 8.8. Those are live pictures of the tsunami as it's rolling through cities and neighborhoods right now as it's happening.
You can see in this water there are buildings, there are rooftops, boats, vehicles. It's incredibly deep at this point. This quake struck just less than 90 minutes ago off the northeastern coast of Japan.
We've had a picture on our seismograph around 9:45 our time. Tsunami watch is now in effect for much of the Pacific, including the Bay Area coastline. A tsunami watch is not as severe as a tsunami warning. We want to go now to Robert Lyles, who is monitoring the coverage coming out of Japan. Robert, these are amazing pictures halfway around the world, but we're getting them live, and it's just these entire cities are being inundated by water.
Ken, these images are absolutely surreal. You are watching tsunami waves, and as you've seen, they've already swept into Onohama City, where it is already 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, television cameras were rolling, as you see, as those waves swept in from what is now an 8.8 magnitude quake. These waves devoured cars, trucks, houses, even buildings. We stay live with these images from Japanese television network NHK. Let me offer you a little bit of background information on this. Now, Japan's meteorological agency is warning that a tsunami as high as 20 feet could strike the coast near Miyagi, which is closest to the epicenter. Now, to offer you perspective on the raw power of this 8.8 quake, Onohama City is 240 miles from Tokyo, and still buildings shook violently in that city. Workers poured out onto the streets seeking some kind of safety. There are already confirmed sightings of buildings on fire. We saw a little bit of that at the top of our show, and huge smoke plumes billowing in Obadai district of Tokyo. Now, allow me to offer some clarification. Japanese meteorologists are calling this quake a 7.9, but just within the past 45 minutes, the USGS has upgraded that quake to 8.8. Japanese television network NHK showed employees stumbling around as books and papers came crashing down on them and their desk. But the tsunami threat is not limited to Japan. For a better understanding of what that means, we go live to Roberta Gonzalez, who's standing by in the Pinpoint Weather Center. Roberta.
Robert, I am literally getting off the telephone from the West Coast and Alaska Earthquake Tsunami Warning Center. In addition, I verified this with the National Weather Service. They have not even had the time to print this out yet, but now, in effect, a tsunami watch for the entire West Coast. This does include from the Canadian-Washington border as far south as California and the Mexican border. So indeed, now a tsunami watch in effect for the San Francisco Bay coastline. What does that mean? We just don't know at this particular time yet. This is a fluid situation in which the National Weather Service, the Tsunami Center are watching the buoys, and as the waves approach the buoys in Hawaii, then we'll get a good indication on the height, the size of these waves as they begin to head towards the West Coast. What we do know is generally in a case like this, we will see higher surf. We will also experience some minor tidal fluctuations. But at this particular time, it is not a warning, which means it is imminent. This is a tsunami watch in effect for the entire coastline of the state of California. And what that means is we're just keeping a watchful eye on the situation. High tides, high surf will be heading this way, but at this particular time, Robert, it is not an emergency situation. I'm going to go ahead and jump back on the telephone right now with the West Coast and Alaska Earthquake Tsunami Warning Center and get further updates.
Roberta, thanks so much. We will check in with you shortly. Let's reiterate some of the facts as we know it again. This 8.8 earthquake struck at 2:46 local time. That was Friday afternoon for Japan. That was 9:46 our time. You are watching live images coming out of Japanese television network NHK. It is showing tsunami waves already rushing into Onohama City. Let's go live to their coverage in English right now.
Were observed soon after the quake. The agency is warning that the tsunami could be between 6 and 10 meters. You're seeing some of the tsunami damage so far in Miyagi Prefecture, in the Sendai area, where some of the homes and farms have been flooded when the tsunami went upstream a river. According to the Transport Ministry, Haneda International Airport has reopened 2 of its 4 runways. Haneda International Airport has reopened 2 of its 4 runways. The airport had earlier closed all runways. Haneda International Airport has reopened 2 of its 4 runways. The Japan Road Traffic Information Center and police say expressways around Tokyo and northeastern Japan have been closed. The Japan Road Traffic Information Center and police say expressways around Tokyo and northeastern Japan have been closed. According to Toshiba Elevator, it assumes that most elevators came to a halt in the region affected by the disaster. According to Toshiba Elevator, it assumes that most elevators came to a halt in the region affected by the disaster. At the moment, the company has been collecting information about mechanical troubles. The industry minister.
Now, again, you are listening to live and watching live coverage from NHK Japanese television network of the 8.8 earthquake that has struck the area. You can see tsunami waves sweeping into farmland in the area, Onahama City, which is 240 miles from Tokyo. Right now, we have no confirmed reports of injury or death, but we have been able to verify through these live images that there are, in fact, fires. We do know that there have been fires as far away as Tokyo, which again is 240 miles away from this epicenter, and those waves just continue to devour this area. This is an absolutely unbelievable scene, an 8.8 magnitude earthquake. It was initially reported as a 7.9 earthquake. That information came in from Japanese meteorologists. But once the USGS weighed in on this matter, it was quickly upgraded to an 8.8. That happened just about an hour ago. We are continuing to track the details of this earthquake, and we will certainly bring you much more as it breaks and becomes available during
Robert,
this
I'm down
newscast.
here. I'm up here on the news set. We're watching the same pictures you are right now coming in from NHK. And yeah, there's a little discrepancy about how big the quake initially was. And part of that is due to the fact that the Japanese have a different quake scale than we do here in the United States.
Correct.
Theirs goes from 0 to 7, and it can go in increments of 7 up from there. But it's not the same as what we use here, which is a magnitude amplitude reading, and it's a little bit different. But you're right, USGS has weighed it, and they estimated at 8.8. You're going to hear 8.4, and they'll fine-tune that as the night goes on. But